Hey, what's up, everyone? This is David Greenspan, and you are listening to Season 2 of the MindShare podcast, a proud member of the Industry Syndicate Media Network. Additional podcasts are available at mindshare101.com and on all the major podcast platforms. This week's episode is sponsored by Kit's Keep in Touch Systems. This is episode 92. He started in real estate at the age of 19. He then opened Century 21 Atria in 2004. And since then has turned it into the number one office in the Greater Toronto Area, the number 2 office in Canada for Century 21, and the number 3 office in the world. He is now the president and owner of Century 21 Atria, the VP of Century 21 Canada Broker Council Ontario, and the president of the Toronto Asian Real Estate Association of America. It is my pleasure to welcome to the show my friend Stephen Chow. Stephen, welcome to the MindShare podcast.
Hey, thank you, David. That's an amazing intro. It sounds like I'm like on a radio show. I guess this is how podcasts are, right? Thank you.
Well, hey, thank you. It's a pleasure having you here today, man. I'm excited for the conversation because we've known each other for some time now, and I have been watching you continuously just lead the way, and that's not just in our geographical area, but we're talking across the country, coast to coast, and well beyond that. So I'm pumped. I'm excited for you as a friend, and it's amazing to watch. So I just keep fueling that fire, man.
No, thank you for the compliment. I think we met 3-4 years ago at a conference, and it's always been excited to talk to you. And you have so much energy.
Hey, you know what? It's when you're doing things from this side, I guess the idea there is to make sure that people are not going to fall asleep on you. No, but you know what? Too, it's. As you know, when you're working with agents and you're helping people grow their business, and naturally you're having your own successes as well, it's easy to be excited about what you do.
Sure.
And that's really what
I love what you do.
Yeah, no, it's fun, man. Thank you. But again, I congratulate you in a big way, consistently being at the top of the pack when it comes to production. And it just bottom line means that your group sells a whole lot of real estate. So I have to ask you, as we look ahead over these next 30, 60, 90 days, what factors are you paying attention to get a gauge on essentially where to go next? And I'm talking, from your real estate business. I know you've got that entrepreneurial spirit. You're always up to other things. What are you looking at?
I think from a company standpoint, we got to really look at what new technology is coming out. I think in the last, say, 6 months since COVID shut down the city, basically, I think a brokerage needs to be prepared, right? I think we're always saying, hey, we're a technology-based company, but what exactly does a company have to help operate? For example, in our company, when we actually completely shut down the office, we only had like 1 or 2 staff, admin staff working in the office. Was our marketing team, was our admin team, our tech team, were they available to be working from home? Can our agents do transactions? I think that was very, very important. Now, after a few months, we're seeing a lot more companies coming out, bringing new software, new technologies into the real estate market. I think even almost on a weekly basis, I'm getting pitched on different tools. I think we got to look at these tools, right? I think to us as a company, we were 80% online already. Like we could conduct our business, but now the remaining 20%, how can we really run it smoothly? I think as a company perspective, that's what we need to look at. Also as a company, I think we got to look at is office square footage, office setup of a company, right? Are agents more engaged virtually online? Do we need more multiple locations of smaller offices? As you know, in Toronto, a lot of big brokerages are square footage wise are humongous, right? Like our office, right now I'm in a 9,000 square feet office, but moving forward is, do you want more multiple locations through a GTA, the smaller square footage because people can work from home? I think that's from a company perspective. But on an agent's perspective, I think moving forward for the next few months, they really got to look at this. All the stuff that they were not prepared when COVID hit, because it goes back to technology. A lot of agents are old school, right? For example, I'm in the business with 20 plus years. I'm a very old school guy. I like paper. My room's a mess. Right? I can't clean it for you today a little bit. So, right? I like to use a pen. I like to use paper. But are they still learning of all these tools that a company might offer to them, or even at the board level might offer to them? Can they make sure to use all those tools to help them move forward in the future of the business. So in that perspective, I think agents need to prepare themselves, right? We don't know if we're going to get a second wave or whoever even knew COVID would come to Toronto, right?
You know, it's interesting that you say that. And I think that has been a underlying tone of confusion for agents for the past probably 10 years now. Technology, we've got to use it. We've got to leverage it. And don't get me wrong, I agree with you. I think that it's important that we look at this. And I mean, if you didn't believe it, and to everybody listening and watching, if you didn't believe it before COVID, it just hit everybody in the face, right?
Yep.
It is very real. You've got to leverage video. You've got to understand these Zoom platforms. You've got to understand how to do virtual open houses and e-signatures and all. You have to.
Correct.
You have to. And you've got to be prepared for the what if that we look ahead at, right? So, you know, in that, I'm curious because I want to clarify that for people who have been hearing this from us, are listening to this. Leverage technology. You know, and we've got to look at it all. And again, that becomes very overwhelming. Are there, you know, and you say that there's a lot of new stuff coming at you, and without kind of labeling off what all of they are and who the companies are necessarily, but what kind of things, when we say, you know, leverage all the technology, what kind of things are you really pressing on right now for your agents to say, you know, embrace this, like you've got to learn it and understand it?
Well, I think the one thing is, let's talk about the old school agents, right? If you're new in the industry, even the most basic electronic signature might be very simple for someone into the new industry, into real estate in the last year or two. A lot of agents in the business for longer than 2 or 3 years, they actually never really even try to understand or how to use electronic signature. So that's number one thing. Like a Femicide now, we all as realtors in Toronto, we have that. But moving forward, I think agent needs to have a very good CRM database. I think a lot of times in the past is your Rolodex is your cell phone, right? But now, because everything's pushing online, is your CRM database connected to certain software that you might have, for example, to your videos platform, to your website, to your 3D Matterport, for example. Even for us at Century 21, we launched a new 3D virtual showings for our agents too, right? So are all these platforms that you're purchasing, all these technologies, are they connected? Are they reading off each other, right? For example, at home, right? Some of you guys are Apple users, some of you guys are Android users, right? Apple and Android cannot read each other at home, right? So you need devices that, hey, if you're buying a Samsung, you got to make sure it's connected to your cell phones, connected to your Nest, connected to blah, 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 blah. I think same thing as technology in real estate, right? If you're learning one new tool, I think a lot of times what agent looks at is, hey, it's a CRM system. This is the cheapest one. But can it connect to the other tools, not only that you purchase, but as a company perspective, if we're providing these tools, can it be connected? Or even from Century 21 Canada, are all these systems connected? Because I think that will save you a lot of time, right? So I think our agents really got to look into what, I guess, I'm not sure the exact term. I think they're just called plug and play. Can you plug it into a certain system you have, etc. I think that's important to look at. CRM is very, very important right now, I think.
And I echo that. I think CRM is by far the foundational pillar of our entire business. And then the 3 pillars within that becoming contact list, calendar, and marketing. So having a system that's going to have all of that in one place rather than the disconnection. I think, you know, I love this part of the conversation because this is something that I have often with people. And this is something where I feel the confusion that I mentioned a moment ago comes from is, okay, I've gone and I picked the cheapest CRM, or I picked the one with the brightest bells and whistles, or I picked the one that, you know, Judy down the hall is using because it works for her. It's got to work for me, right? Did I figure out the rhyme and reason as to why? Did I figure out how it compares and is optimized for this thing? Then once I picked it, I've got to understand what are the parts of it that are actually going to work for me, not just that are going to cause me to work. And from a connection standpoint, I think that a lot of times what happens is now it's like, well, you know, I've got my CRM. I can connect it to this third party, let's just, I don't know, for random email system. Now I've connected to this email system, but now I got to take all the contacts from my CRM, move them into the email system, figure out how to send an email. That learning curve right there sometimes can be just big for people. It can be challenging. And so this comes back to your point of get a CRM that almost has that email system built into it.
Correct.
That can have the content there for you, that can have the consistency going out for you. And again, this is where the learning curves come from. and the confusion around technology, because we, you, me, both of us, and so many others, you've got to use it, you've got to use it, you've got to use it. But understanding, how do I use it? Why am I using it? What should I be doing with it every single day?
Yeah.
And I know this is something, for me at least, I focus a ton of time on when we talk about systems with our coaching clients with MindShare, is really going through, what does your system look like? How do you operate every single day? So I love what you say about that. So I'm curious then, as we look ahead and say, the next 30, 60, 90 days, we've got to be embracing technology. I agree. What factors are you seeing affecting the market? Is there anything specific you're looking ahead at over these, even, fall market, because they're predicting a whole bunch of stuff, including a second wave?
Yeah. Well, I think number one thing, we're lucky that interest rate's so low. But I think as an agent, we really got to look at is, if there's a second wave coming, how strong will the Toronto market still be? Right now, we can see 8 out of 10 properties right now are probably in a bidding war, right? But if you actually look at, say, 60 days ago versus a week ago, that bidding war actually slowed down a little bit, right? Now it's probably 6 out of 10 properties you have a bidding war. 3-4 weeks ago, you might have, for the same property, you might have 20 offers on the bidding war. Now you only have probably 5. So the market's shifting a little bit, I think. Sometimes I look at it, it's a little bit scary for myself. I keep on looking, how can we be in such a hot market with a pandemic that just happened? Well, we're still in a pandemic. How can the market be so hot? Is it because all these businesses were deferred from March, April, May, all pushed to July and August? The spring market, summer market, all combined as one. But now we're heading into the fall market. Will it sustain? That's a big question. I think we all got to look at it. And I think also agents have to remember right now is, no matter in a good market or in a normal market, you got to look at your pipeline, like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days down the road, right? I think a lot of newbie agents or rookie agents, what they look at is, hey, I have one buyer, I'm showing them 20 houses today, I'm losing on like 10 offers, bidding wars. But the problem they don't remember is sometimes these first-time buyers or these people losing in bidding wars today, you know what? They're so fed up of losing, prices went up, I don't know, by 10% in the last couple of months, they decide not to buy. So you got to start preparing the next 3 months, 4 months, 6 months down the road is, how is your business coming in? No matter if there's a pandemic, if there's a second wave, or we go back to a normal market, is you have to continue to prospect. But I think it goes back to what you said is, what is their way of prospecting? I think every agent has to understand that. That's very, very important. So that's how I look at it in the next few months is, to me, there's going to be a lot of changes, I think, in the fall market, right? Like, is the market still going to be this hot? I really don't know. We talked about rentals. Rentals, if you look at all the newspaper, all the articles saying downtown Toronto rental market dropped like 6, 7, 8%. I think every day giving me different numbers. It is difficult in downtown Toronto for a renter, for a landlord, I should say. However, is that going to be a long-term thing? I don't think so. Right now, what you're having is landlords are competing with thousands of Airbnb units thrown on the market, right? You're competing with a lot of students have unknown factors. Are they coming back to Toronto to go to university? Right. Are they going to college, right? You have a lot of big firms, big corporations in downtown Toronto. They're saying, you know what? You don't have to come to work until next year. So a lot of people who live outside of Toronto, they're not renting. But in my opinion, in the long run, these rental properties, these people need to move back in. So right now, yes, we're all getting a hit on the rental market in downtown Toronto. But I also look at it to telling my agents, there's an opportunity, right? Your client bought these properties 3-4 years ago, right? They probably doubled their investment easily if you bought them in downtown Toronto in the last 3-4 years, right? They got good rent. Rent dropped significantly right now. Isn't it a good conversation for you to have is, hey, you know what? Maybe it's time for us to get out of the market, sell this property, bring your money, invest into other future pre-construction properties, and let it close 4 or 5 years down the road. And I'm pretty sure by then, well, hopefully there's no more COVID by then, right? And your rental market will be back stable. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for agents to actually, hey, you know what? Don't get stuck on your current transaction, but how can you help your client create? I think all investors want to make money. How can you generate that clientele to help them create transactions for yourself?
Sorry, I was blabbing on. No. It's almost like you've either been listening to what I've been saying for the past few days, or we are very much on the same page. Because My outlook on this whole thing, when we look at the opportunities, I believe that we have a massive opportunity in the next 90 days to make a lot of money in this industry. And here's why I say that. We've got school, which is a complete unknown. And although here in Toronto, the TDSB and the YRSB, York Region, Toronto, and all those guys, they're prepping to have the kids come back. We don't know what's going to happen when they go back and how long that's going to last. So our kids going to be coming back home, and we also know that there's going to be a percentage of the population that goes, I am not sending my child to school, which then is going to take us into the second point of employment rates or unemployment rates. They are already higher than they have been since 76. And I believe that because of this potential school not going back or disruption too, that unemployment will climb, unfortunately. This takes us to the third point. The banks who came out in March and said, hey, mortgage deferral, 6 months. Count the months.
September. It's over.
It's over. It's
after
done.
This month is over. Yeah.
So, and you just mentioned about the BOC and the rates low and everything else, but the banks are still a business. They're still going to say, hey, it's time to pay up.
Yeah.
Now you're going to have this coupled with people not going back to work, not generating the income they're supposed to, needing a deferral at one point or another, not being able to pay now. Here's the opportunity. Here it comes. One is the refi, and two is the downsize.
Yep.
And the only way you are going to benefit from that is if you reach out to your clients and actually have the relationship where they trust you enough to have that conversation with you. Because not just anybody is going to talk about their home and their finances with just anybody. It doesn't
Correct.
work like that. We are going to confide in our trusted advisor. Now, how do we become a trusted advisor? Make your phone calls. Like you just said, reach out, leverage your database, get out there and talk to people, continue to do your prospecting. But everything you do now, or everything you were doing, let's say even 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago, the phone calls we told everybody to make to just check in with their database, how you doing? Now it's time to leverage that, call back and say, listen, I'm checking in. I want to know, how are you? How are things?
Oh, no, for
do
sure.
You need any help, right?
I think you have to. I think ultimately our business is a face-to-face business, right? Technology can bring you somewhere, right? Texting, social media can bring you somewhere. But I think right now agents need to pick up the phone. Right? I think even we're talking to our agents. Hey, you should be doing cold calling. People are stuck at home for the last 2 months, right? You're calling. It's kind of saying, hey, we're going back in the old school how to do real estate business. I think it's important. Just pick up the phone and talk to your clients right now.
Now, is that the biggest message you're sharing to your agents right now, is just literally pick up the phone and talk to people?
I think it's ultimately it's reaching out to clients, right? I think I know a lot of newer agents into the industry. They just prefer texting, email, marketing materials out. But I think they need to call and do face-to-face business, or at least on the phone, right? Just check up on the clients, especially the clients that are. No, I think they need to reach out, because right now, as you said, there's many different business opportunities. There's people that need to downsize, right? There's a lot of unknown factors out there, so there's business for them to be made. Some people are looking at a business opportunity to buy a bigger property, upsize a property, buy multiple properties, interest rates are low. So you have basically two types of people that's looking for properties right now. So agents, when they're not actually working right now, they should be pick up their phones and talk to people.
I think there's a few holdups on that, and this is something that I've just experienced through dealing with agents all day, every day. But I know I need to make the calls, but I just don't have the time, and I don't know what to say. What do you say to that?
You probably won't like my answer. I say this to all my agents. When my agent says this to me, I'm like, guys, you guys complain when the market's bad. You guys complain when the market's hot. You always say you have no time, but it's a business. You find your time, right? It's like that's an agent's job, right? Right, when the market's hot, you can't do business. Like, then when do you do business, right? Even I look at it right now is as a brokerage perspective. My job is to recruit, right? That's part of my job, or my management staff is recruiting. We have to pick up the calls myself too. To me, it's like, if I'm busy, I'll pick up calls next week. I'll make sure I hit the phones and recruit agents. I think agent needs to understand that is we're all busy, right? Right now, some of them might have kids. They're stuck at home. They have to spend more time with the kids. But isn't that an opportunity? Actually, you could actually sit at home and make phone calls instead of watching Netflix, well, right? That's how I look at it, right? I think agents always have excuses.
I listen. I agree, and I think that it's human nature to procrastinate in many different ways, and this is where it comes back to having a solid system in place around how you manage time. so that you can get out of that excuse. Because, the best thing is, and you know it and I know it, sometimes it's hard to pick up that phone that day to make it, let's say, your first phone call of the day. But the minute you make it, you can make like 20 more because you were on fire at that point, even if all you got was a voicemail.
It's true.
Right. But now it's a matter you take that and you've gotten it out of the way. And now what you're doing is you're again, to what you said a moment ago, everything that you would have done over the past few months is going to set us up for what's going to happen now. And those calls are some of the best calls. And a lot of times it's also like, what do I say to people? I don't know what to say to people. Well, when you are genuine about the call, and I'm talking the warm call for a moment, okay? When you're genuine about the call and you speak to people and if I know what we talked about last time, it's easy for me to jump on another call, right? It's the same way you and I were able to exchange text messages to each other. One thing we're talking about this podcast, the next thing you're like, I'm watching the Leaf game, and we're going back and forth about the Leaf game for a minute, right? But there's commonalities. And so if you don't reach out and do the text message or the phone call or whatever, you don't learn about the commonalities. You can't build the relationship, and then you don't really have the opportunity you're looking for.
No, totally agree. Yeah.
But it's amazing though how the past, I'd say even number of guests that have been on the show, the underlying thing that everybody's saying is pick up the phone and make the calls.
Yep.
Yet we still get the excuses of too busy.
Oh no, as you even said, even leave a voicemail is good.
That something. Right. And then I give everybody the next step on that, just as people are tuned in, track the note in your CRM. Like Steven said, you need the CRM, track the note. Once you've tracked the note, schedule your next follow-up and then move on. And now when you see that person's name in your database months down the road, you can go, why are they in here? Go back to the note you talked about last time. And now you know exactly where you're going this time.
Mm-hmm.
Just a constant process of driving business, right? So, Steve, how many agents do you guys have right now at Atria?
We have about 470.
Okay.
Going back to this note, actually, let me add on to that. You kind of mentioned, hey, a few months ago, you're supposed to reach out to past clients. Even for us as a broker owner, we reached out to agents that talked to us in the past. But I believe during this last few months, I believe at Atria, we did a really good job, right? We constant communication with my team, constant giving them update how to new trainings, how to do business. I think we did a really good job. So what we did was, I think this applies to agents, right? We reached out to past agents that we talked to, never joined us. I think what we saw in the last 5 weeks, we hired 13 agents because of these calls that we made 4 or 5 months ago. But I think as an agent perspective, same thing. If you make these calls to your past clients, can you convert them into a business? It's the exact same way how we do recruiting, I think. So to answer you, in short, we have roughly about 470, I think.
Okay, so I like that. So let me ask you this then. These are people that you might have spoken to once or twice or a
in the
few
past
times
couple
in the
years.
past.
Yeah.
What is the call? And look, I don't want to ask you to give me your exact script because again, that's going to be some of your secret sauce as well. But what is the bones of the call? Like, is it a, hey, I'm just checking in to see how you're doing? Are some of these people like, hey, Dave, it's Steve again. Did you catch the Leafs game? What's the angle? Or is it very scripted of like, hi, I'm calling?
No, to be honest, there's no script. I personally don't really like script. I'm not a script guy. I've never done that as an agent before. But it was very simple. Like most of these people that we talk to, we have them on Facebook. We have them on social media. You do a little bit of research, right? You see what's going on in their life. Are they a Leafs fan, right? You could start a conversation like that. None of my calls were an actual recruiting call. Our calls were very simple. Hey, this is what we're doing at Atria. I have some videos. You're part of my emails, actually, because the videos you did was corporate. We're like, hey, here's a couple of videos from David, from all these different speakers. This is what we're doing at Atria. Take a look. And you like it, give me a call. And now we're a couple of months later, we're giving back the same people a call. Hey, did you look at the videos? Did you like it? And some of them, hey, we loved it. Our company did nothing. No one called me. No one sent me any videos. But we see that your company's doing all these trainings. I'm not going to say here today that I made a phone call to 470 of my agents. No, that's not possible.
100%.
But what we're saying is we did constant communication with my agents almost in the first 2 months. Every 7 to 10 days, I send out a video email of myself talking to my team, giving them statistics update, giving them the directions of the company, what's happening to our staff, constant update. I think that's what agent wanted. They want information. Same thing to your clients, your buyers or sellers. They want to hear from you. They're scared. Some of them are unemployed. They want to understand how the housing market is. But now is, hey, the market's hot. You should turn around and talk to them about a different conversation. I think.
I love that you said that, because I mean, again, it's I've been saying to people a lot. I mean, look, scripting. I get asked all the time, have you got a script for that? And I don't believe that you need a script for that. If you need a script, you probably don't know exactly who you're talking to or what you want to talk about. And for everybody, listen to this one clearly, because this I really internalized this the other day as I was making calls. Um, I think you probably know, but I just took a really awesome motorcycle ride out to Tofino, BC and back. It was a 17-day road trip. I passed through every big city, every small town in the country, more or less. And I went through a lot of places where I happen to have a lot of clients, but not the opportunity to stop and see people. And so what I ended up doing was, when I came back, because there's a lot of people I was thinking about that I didn't pass by, I called people. And it was, I mean, Steve, what's going on? It's David. Oh my God, I just passed through your town the other day. I don't need to worry about what I say business-wise. I don't need to worry about exactly what I say specifically, but more about the way I say it, right? So again, if I do it in a relational way, and the way I say it is something that connects with somebody else, people will talk, right? So if I'm talking about the town you're in, or I sent off an email to one of our mutual colleagues today, and I said, hey, Mr. Habs fan. And if he's listening, he's going to know exactly who he is. I said, hey, Mr. Habs fan, Montreal Canadiens fan, right? Checked in with him about a few things. Then at the end, I signed off, go Leafs, go David, right? But there's your commonality. So it's not, I didn't have to be all professional. Hello, Mr.
Yeah.
So-and-so.
Yeah.
When you've got a relationship, you can be relational.
Yeah.
And again, it comes back to reaching out to people. Where do you see most of your agents getting their business? Is it people they know or people they don't know? And I know there's always going to be a percentage of both, but just majority.
Yeah. I see the last few months, I think it's referral and past clients, that percentage increased from talking to my agents.
Okay.
I think before I think it goes back to what we're saying is, hey, if you're reaching out to people, you can get their business, right? I think online leads, like we're a big part of online leads in our company, lead generation. But I think the last few months, because of the pandemic, that lead dropped significantly. Like I should rephrase, there's more leads coming in, but it's just because people are stuck at home. There's nothing to do. I think there's more nosy people on the internet that are not serious. But I think ultimately people are reaching out to people that they know. So last 2 months, I think it's more past clients, referrals. Prior to that, I would say a lot of new leads coming in through sign calls or website, etc.
Okay, so interesting. So referrals, and because I believe, I mean, referrals are always a driving force of business in this industry. I believe as we move ahead, trust, as we said before, is going to be a major factor on whether people want to deal with you. I mean, I don't know. It used to be back in the day, you could have what we call the quote unquote gentleman's handshake, and everything was like, that's the way it was loyal. Now it's gotten to the point where people are looking for the cheapest option. They are looking for, just something real quick. And I just don't believe that just anybody is going to allow just anybody to come into their homes if they don't know who they are. Right.
Oh yeah. Especially
COVID is what it is, right? It's just,
you don't want a stranger coming to your home. I personally think that right now.
That's the thing. Like, hey, Steve, do you know him though? When you bring him in, like, where's he been? Right?
Yeah,
are you going to vouch for him?
No, it's true.
I think the relationship factor there is absolutely massive. So now what, from an online lead perspective, as you were saying that, because I also feel that with all this technology conversation, which I said, earlier, is sort of this decade-long conversation that's been going on now. We've somewhat seen that bell curve where it's, let me do this properly for the camera, but it's gone up, it's gone across, and it's gone down. And we're not dropped off the face of the earth for web leads and social media ads and whatnot. But, I don't think we're on the upward trajectory. I think that we flattened out and we're probably coming down a little bit for people who go, it cost me a lot of money. And I don't know that it was the driving force necessarily behind my business. I'm curious to your thoughts on that. And then in the same breath, I want to ask you from a lead perspective, and you say it's slowed down a little bit. Have we been seeing the same quality of leads coming through? Maybe not over these past, again, few months, but prior to that we were seeing maybe a year, 2, 3 years ago?
I think that the quality of leads are pretty much similar. It's pretty low percentage, but I think it has slowed down. I think it's because the last few years, or even the last year, you're getting a lot more agents coming into the industry are spending a lot more money on online leads. No matter it's a pure lead generation through Google ads or through Instagram or Facebook ads, they're all generating business through different leads. However, a few years ago, I guess there's less companies out there helping agents do all this. Now there's so many companies that are, hey, you know what? Here's a cheaper amount. You could pay us $1,000 to get 300 leads, etc. I think there's a lot of misconception of what type of leads are there. There's recycled leads, right? I think there's a lot of leads are like leads passed down or group buy leads, right? I think a lot of agents are confused why such a lead might cost $1 a lead in Toronto and the same type of lead might cost $15 from another company, right? I think there's a lot of misunderstanding. So you get a lot of these leads coming in. It could be passed down through many agents that's been recycled, right? So I think the quality of leads are probably the same, but the demand or the demand from or supply, it's getting higher, right?
It is.
There's more and more agents getting out there, I think. Right?
So more and more agents are looking for it, but we are seeing some recycled stuff going on.
Correct. Yeah.
So how do you differentiate between all this stuff?
What do you mean by that? Sorry.
Well, you've got 5 different companies offering, leads, and there's different price points and there's different things. And now based on what we say, and I mean, you're certainly not the first guy to say this about recycled leads or people getting, 5 different agents getting the exact same lead or whatever it is. How do you differentiate between which one is the right company, the wrong company, or what's a quality lead, what's a not a quality lead?
Well, I think I'm not an expert, but how I look at it is almost every lead cost is going to Google, right? Google AdWords. Everybody's paying Google basically, right? Google's cost doesn't change, right? Unless you're buying like millions of leads, you might get a little bit discount from Google. If everybody's lead cost is costing $10, how can a ABC company offer you a lead at $3 a lead that will all buy from Google? It just doesn't make sense. I think a lot of times I tell my agents, it's very simple. You don't understand lead costs? Just go Google. You could call them up. They actually have a help desk that teaches you do all this, and ask them how much a lead costs to buy Toronto condos for sale, right? That's about a 20 plus lead per lead, right? How can another company say same Google search term or words phrase could be $3? It just doesn't make sense. So I always talk to my agents, hey, you know what? If we don't know it, I'm not good at it. Just call Google. They have a help desk to help you teach all this, and ask about these lead costs, how much it costs. And then ask these other companies, question them, how come your lead is only $3 if we're all putting the same ads out on Google? It doesn't make sense, right? If you're competing with, I don't know, if you're competing with Facebook, maybe that's a different story, right? Facebook probably has billions of dollars to spend against you, but as a regular agent, we're all probably spending what, a few $100 to, I don't know, a few $1,000 a month. Your lead cost cannot be like 6, 7, 8 times different. Right. There's not enough money for it to be such a huge difference, in my opinion.
So you just made an interesting statement there. I mean, in terms of price point, I'm familiar with what these things run, but we're looking at it somewhere. You said somewhere between $200 to even $3,000 a month for this type of stuff. So we've got people paying somewhere between $2,400 to like $36,000 to generate leads. Yep. And naturally, the beauty of a real estate business is that it can be lucrative, and there's opportunities there to be able to create ROI on the investment rather than just having it as an expense. However, you really need to know what you're doing.
Definitely.
Right? Like it's not just go and hire a company ABC to say, hey, I'm going to spend X amount of dollars on you and you're going to send me leads and I'm just going to generate real estate.
Yeah, no. I think a lot of agents think that way, but you got to be able to convert them. I think you need a lot of patience to do online leads in the first place, right?
Yeah.
I could tell you if I was an agent, I would never be successful on online leads. I don't have the patience.
Okay. So why? What's the process, Steve? Like,
I think the number one thing we learned is once that lead comes in, you got to pick up your phone and call.
Yeah.
Not send the guy an email. If you're sending the guy an email, you're just another bot, right? It's just not an automated email. You need to pick up the phone and call the guy, right? I see some of my agents are very successful to us within seconds or within minutes. They'll send them a customized email video. I saw one of my agents did a video at Costco. He was shopping with his son, and the lead came in. He just stood at Costco lining up and did a video. Hey, I'm here with my son shopping. I'll call you in the next 30 minutes, right? I think as a customer, if I sign up on your website, wow, this is a real guy that's replying to me, right? I think people still want that personal side of us in real estate. No matter what type of prospect, I think they need that.
Okay, so here, and I got to take that further now. And I love the fact that he pulled open the video. I mean, you know me, I'm ripping videos wherever
Oh
I
yeah,
go.
huge video guy.
And I mean, hey, COVID has like secluded us all, so my backgrounds are a lot more similar than normal. But I love that because that's genuine and it's authentic. And for the person that's going, whoa, not professional, or that's not me, again, understand that it's a people business and people
Correct.
appreciate people. People want to build relationships with real people.
Yep.
So as long as we focus on building that relationship and we're real about it, and we're not so concerned about the bright, shiny object as much as we are, hey, listen, I'm just tied up doing this right now. I'll get right back to you. Boom. You've given somebody this reassurance that they're going to get back to you.
Correct. It's that's what they want, I think, people.
That's exactly it. So what happens after that then? So I've sent off the message.
Well, I think after that, you have to do multiple follow-ups, right? You got to at least put them on a safe search type of platform to make sure enter them into your CRM. As we mentioned earlier, you have to have a pretty good CRM to make sure you have regular market updates, regular information being sent out to them. You need to do follow-ups. As you said, you need to type in your notes. You got to remember who you're talking to, right? Like a lot of times, I tell my team is, you're doing online leads. If you somehow realize David is the online lead and he's a lead fan, you should put that in your notes. As you said, hey, that game must have sucked for you, right? When we were down 3-0 or 4 or whatever it was. I think that's like an icebreaker in the conversation, right? I don't think we always have to jump into talk about business right away. I think the same thing for me for recruiting. You don't always have to say, hey, I want to recruit you. You just need to start a conversation. I think they understand what you're trying to do ultimately, right? If you're an agent randomly calling on clients, I think they know you want their business, but it doesn't mean you always have to talk about business. But online leads is just right. You got to make sure you put them in the correct groups. For example, if they're ready to buy the next 6 months, 9 months, or are these just nosy people coming online? You got to figure out which groups they are. Are they? You have to remember one thing. Most of the people that's registered on your website, they probably register on 20, 30 different other websites. Right? There is no loyalty until you build that really strong rapport with them. Then you might have an opportunity to do a showing with them.
It's and this is the thing, and I think that's again the missing link that most people are kind of, missing is that idea around the fact that it just comes down to people, and it's not so much anymore about hey, do you want to buy and sell a house, as much as it is just create relationships. I mean, much the same too. I've asked this question before. If somebody says they want to sell, or maybe that they're looking to buy. Why? What are you looking for? And a lot of times you get a typical answer. Well, we want to sell because we want to get a little bit of a bigger house. Oh, okay. But why? And if we continue to dig for the need and continue to, and again, it doesn't always have to be the why, but the more you can find out from them and learn, and this be the new lead, this be the person that is in your database, the more you can realize why they want the bigger house. It may just be, and I've used this example before, but maybe they just want a kitchen that they can actually put a kitchen table in. So now the motive for the bigger house is really just to have a kitchen table. If you can find them a nice kitchen that fits a table, but maybe the house is the same, it could still fit. But again, it's relationship, it's digging, it's understanding who the person is. So that's kind of the front of the online lead, right? I'm curious though, if a new agent comes into the business and says to you, and you've recruited this individual, or they just, they come over and they're brand new and they've heard that your office is the place to be. What are you telling a new agent coming into the business in terms of how to go out there and build their system, how to go out there and market themselves? What is that big thing? Like, I'm brand new.
Yeah, I think the number one thing that we tell them is hit your Rolodex, hit the people that you already know. I always say, hey, go to your Facebook account and break it down into 3 groups of people, right? Your family, relatives, that's one group, and then your second group are your past clients, your past coworkers, your colleagues, etc. That's your second group, and the third group, a lot of us, we just randomly add people. But I think a lot of us have a few hundred people on Facebook. I think that's a good starting point. That's a few hundred contacts you have that gave you. Now you have their email, you might have their phone number because of online, right? You have a direct communication of texting the guy through Messenger. So I think that's number one thing. But ultimately, I always tell my agents is before you start, I think you need to understand the basics of real estate, right? A lot of agents are very excited to get their license. Hey, I want to go sell, 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 sell. But I'm like, hey, before you start doing that, you got to understand the basics. Where to find the agreements, how to the agreements, what is even the step of doing a showing. I think you guys have to understand that because at the board level or the college level, they don't teach you this. They just teach you the law. But now, how do you do it in real life? So what we look at Atria is two parts, right? One part, let's make sure your paperwork, your legal aspect, all your agreements, that's all set. Make sure you know how to use what you learned in class in the real world, right? The second part is how to start your business. And number one is your current contacts you have. We all have a few hundred contacts. And even my mom has 200 Facebook friends, right? That's at least 200 leads to start. And my mom's like, she's 70 something, but she's on Facebook more than me. I can tell you that right now. So you have a bunch of people that you can start business right away. And second part of an agent's business is besides direct business is referrals. So if you have 200 or 300 people there, you just need 50% of them give you a one referral. That's another 100 clients you might have. You could start right there for the next couple months. Agents are shy. I think people don't let people know they're in the business, right? I always tell you gotta let them know. Not sending an email, right? Pick up the phone. Okay, worst comes to worst, at least text the guy. Okay, but bring your buddy, at least text the guy. Hey, here's my new business card. Okay, don't just send a generic email out. Okay, but I prefer picking up the phone. That's what
listen, I'm with you. And I mean, you've definitely experienced this from me. I know for sure. I'll call you. I'll leave a voicemail sometimes if whatever. And I'll shoot you a text. Hey, man, send you a message. And then you'll shoot me back. Yeah, just in a meeting, whatever. And it's a good way. And this could go for anything. This could go, you sent off, or you made the phone call, send them an email. Or you made the phone call, send them a text message. Or you send them an email, now call them. It's supporting one channel with the next to ensure that you're actually getting through, knowing that, again, that belly-to-belly conversation, whether it be by phone or in person, is going to be the most powerful thing you could possibly do, and that's to build your business. So I'm curious,
For sure.
Now we look at the rookie agent and go, listen, exhaust your contact list. Don't tell me that you don't know people, because you know a lot of people. You just need to pick up the phone now and go and tell those people that you're in real estate. Right? So what about the experienced agent then? And they're like, Steve, man, I know I got number 3 this year. I want to be number 1 next year. Yeah. What's the advice to those people?
Well, I think it depends. Now you have different type of top agents, right? You have top agents are doing like 100 deals plus a year. I think the next step is to talk to them if they want to do from 100 to 150 deals. Is an individual agent is not really possible to do that much deals. The next step for us to look at is, hey, should we help you start creating a team, right? Should we, or even not to a team right away, should we help you look into hiring a buyer agent or a listing agent to help increase your business in that perspective, right? Or let's say the agent that does maybe, I don't know, 10 deals a year. How can you push them from 10 to 12 or 13 deals? If you think about it, if you do 2 extra deals, that's 20% increase in your income. How do we do it? One of the things that we look at is, hey, you need to add a new prospecting method, right? We're all comfortable with a certain method. Most agents I think most agents out there rely on referrals and past clients, right? So now can you integrate, for example, social media prospecting into? Can you integrate online lead generation, right? Are you willing to do flyers, door knocking, more open houses? I think the traditional method works in my opinion, right? I still believe open house is probably one of the best ways for people to find business, right? I still say, people look at online leads and flyers. To me, it's the same thing. Online leads, you could target a geographic location, demographics, blah, 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 blah. Flyers, the same thing, right? Either way, Instagram, they look at your ad, they just swipe up, right? It's gone. Flyers, same thing. They're holding you in the mailbox. They're throwing you in the blue bin. To me, it's the same way, but you have to prospect, right? I think agents, no matter you're new or experienced in the business, if you want to make more money or do that extra 2 deals a year, you gotta be open to try a new prospecting method, right? I always say what works for me might not work for you, right? So you gotta figure out what prospecting method is suitable for you and give it a try. And here's the problem is agents gives up too easily. I think not only agents, everyone in general, no matter what we do, we give up in life, right? Very easily. We try for what we all want results, but real estate, it takes time. That's why it's called farming. right? You need to plant the seeds and wait. So to me, it's ultimately you need time to build up your business. You need to take action. For those that are always sitting on their couch and saying no business, I always go to them is you make no money. You should be asking yourself why. Honestly, you work for me or you work for another company, it probably does not going to change because if you're not doing anything, no matter where you work, if nothing's going to change. So to me, it's always I always use this analogy as well. Find me a job that will pay you money if you don't work 40 hours a week. Okay, right now. So if you're not working 40 hours a week and you expect to do a deal, how? Most of them, when you start talking to them, to the agents, but yeah, I did 2 hours of business. I'm like, wait, 2 hours is not. Are you surfing the internet on Facebook? That's not really working to me.
That's not exactly.
That's not working. So I think it comes back to our business is not that complicated. But what I see in common is top agents, why they're so good at their job is because they're actually really hardworking people. Right? Sometimes people might see that these agents, like I have a lot of young agents, right? You might see a lot of these guys are partying hard, drinking hard, right? Whatever. But why are these guys working $300,000, $400,000 a year? You just don't see the side that they're working really hard. Right? I get the emails at 2, 3 a.m. at night. I need help on this deal, blah, blah, blah. The common denominator thing for agent success is working hard. I think there's no secret sauce. If you have no business, in my opinion, go work.
Hey, man, I got a whole saying. I mean, this one, normally we've always heard work hard, play hard. In my mind, it goes play hard, work hard, right? So if you want to be able to enjoy, you need to put in the time and the effort.
Yeah.
And I'm with you there because, you look at, and as you said this with the physical flyers, I now go back probably 4 or 5 years ago when you and I first met. You or your team flyered the neighborhood around our offices because our offices are very close to each other.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting a flyer from the office, which perked my interest because it was a C21 real estate office. But it was a come and have a free hamburger. Okay. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, yeah? Oh, that's good.
But you guys were doing a barbecue outside. You were handing out
hamburgers
to anybody that came by for a hamburger, and
that was for charity.
And you were grilling it.
Yeah. Right? We got a bunch of agents to go to the neighborhood and just hand out the flyers. And thank you. I'm glad you got that.
But it works, right? It works. And I love the fact that you brought that up in comparison to social media, because I want to ask you about social in a second here. But, and this is the same thing I say to people is, you said it perfectly. Social media is a farming mechanism online. Flyers are a mechanism offline. They both work. They both have their place. But now I want everybody to internalize. I'm at my mailbox at home. I am looking at my mailbox. I see this flyer that I may, yes, very well throw in the blue bin. But I didn't just see it. I physically touched it. I physically walked it over to the blue bin. I had it in my hand for a good 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds at minimum. And I'm outside my house. I am at my house. So I'm making the mental connection. We call that in my world, building MindShare. I'm making the mental connection between you, your marketing message, and my home, which now gets me thinking more about you when I think about my home. When it comes to social media, much the same. There can be a similar effect where I'm scrolling and I'm seeing it. The one caveat to that is I'm maybe not at my home and I'm not actually physically touching it.
Yep.
But then in connection with each other, the socials supporting the paper supporting the social, and now the next step there, because both of those are kind of on autopilot if you're using the right companies for it. Now you should get out there and make the call and go and do the door knock and introduce yourself as a real human being. And that's how you convert it, right? So I'm curious, from a social media perspective, because I know you do social. I know the office does social. What results do you guys see from it? And when I say results, I don't mean, how much money have you made from it? I mean, do you get people going, hey, because you posted that, I would like to come work with you or sell my house? Or is it more brand recognition? And again, what I call building MindShare?
No, as a company, obviously, we post stuff online. It's for recruiting, right? I think all companies are doing that. We are actually very successful in that. I think people like to see that. I think if you look at our social media, it's a little bit different. I don't like to always talk about houses. I like to let people know who we are. People always say a culture. I think if you actually look at our Instagram account, you see the silly side of our agents. You see the fun part of our agents. I think that's important. At Atria, we're really selling a culture, right? Like we've done strange things. We've done the Drake dance. We've done different videos. I think that's, to me, I think to answer you is, yes, we actually do hire quite a lot of agents because of our social media, right? I think even for as an agent, if you're going to go target a consumer to buy and sell real estate, you can't always just post about your house listings. Right? I don't think people actually care about that, right? Unless you're really looking at a specific property in that area. They want to know who they're hiring. They want to know, can they make the connection with you? They want to see, hey, are you the right fit? Are you both? Oh, can I say that on broadcast? like, think about it. When you go to do a listing presentation, you're going for a job interview, right? A consumer will look at, hey, you're going to be on your best behavior. But they want to see the real you. Is this the real type of guy that we want to hire to represent me? And I think that goes back to our brokerage level. Is this the right company for you to work at? I think that's important. I think social media these days, it helps you. It also could be deceiving sometimes, right? A lot of people post fake videos, fake messages out there. Is that really them? So in general, I think it works, but they got to tweak it a little bit. I actually don't think an agent, even though my own agents, I have tons of them on my Instagram account. I don't really like I don't like to look at my listings. I don't. Right? I see 400, 500 listings every single day. If I'm on Instagram, the only thing that catches my eye is this picture hasn't really blown me away in this house.
Yep.
Because all my friends on Instagram are realtors, but I like to know who they are. I think that connection is more important.
You know what, and I say that to everybody, and I'll say that right now to everybody listening. Throw me a follow at David Greenspan 101 on Insta, and I'll follow you back. Now, let me say this part. I will not follow you back if all you post is open houses and listings, because it's just boring. Right? And that goes to your point, though, Steve. It's that same thing of give me some of you, give me some of your personality. If you want to sprinkle your open house and your listing into your feed, do it.
Yeah.
But first, focus on making the connection, because it is social media and people are there to socialize. For all of our MindShare masters that are tuned in right now, the VIP room is open. We're about to open that up as we're about to get off air. But Steve, before we go, I'm curious to know, can you give me like a quick rundown? What's the condo market looking like in Toronto right now? Because I know you guys focus very heavily on the condos. A quick oversight on that.
That's the Toronto condo market. I think it's going strong in the resale side. It's definitely going strong. You have a lot of investors are trying to cash out. They made a lot of money in the last few years. So condo market, it's going really hot. Price, because resale versus the new condo market, price point is a few $100s per square feet difference. So a lot of people are jumping on the resale side. The new condo side, which we do a lot of deals in Toronto for pre-construction, it's been a little bit more challenging in the last month or two, right? Because pre-construction is more an investment property. So obviously with the pandemic around, people are thinking a little bit longer. People are doing a lot more detailed research. I think people got to look at what builder they're selling, who they're selling. They're doing a lot more due diligence. So it's still very strong in my opinion, but it's not as quick as say 6 months ago, right? Everything's a little bit slower. I think everybody, even not only real estate, I think in general, now we're all more careful about everything. Even opening the door handle, you gotta be more careful these days.
Absolutely, man. But because you guys do a lot of focus on new condo projects, I imagine you guys have some stuff in the pipeline that people can connect with you about.
Yeah,
okay,
we probably do a majority of the pre-construction condo market. We're probably one of the biggest companies in Toronto, one of the few biggest companies in Toronto that does a lot of pre-construction. Anywhere in GTA.
No, you're always up to some very cool stuff with it. And I mean, again, that's a lot of the stuff that we see. And the one thing I will say too, for everybody that does or is about to start following Stephen on his social media, you will be privy to the things that he's doing with the condos and the new launches. But you know, Stephen, I commend you for this. A lot of times the post is more about call it the wow factor around the event than it is the promotion of the condo sale, if I said that properly. Like, it's more just about like, oh, cool, look where he's at today. Look what he's up to today, rather than it's more lifestyle than it is advertising. There's the
I completely agree with that. If you guys do follow me on Instagram these couple of days, I do apologize if I cannot click like or follow you back. I got temporarily blocked our blocked by Instagram because I've been liking too much stuff in the past week.
You gotta love those social media gods, eh?
Well, I think my account's locked for a few days. Okay.
Steve, I guess last words for any realtors. What last pieces of advice or parting words can you share with anybody? Just anything that you know. I mean, you've shared a lot of amazing things, and I thank you. Any parting words on that?
I think it goes back to what I said earlier. If you really want to be successful in this business, you really have to work hard. Money's not going to just fall off the sky. Clients are not just going to come knocking on your door. I want to buy or sell a house. You gotta take the initial step to contact your client, right? Once in a blue moon, you might get lucky. Someone will call your cell phone and say, hey, I want to buy a $3 million home. But usually it's the other way around. You gotta let people know you're in the business.
I love it. Where can people find you, Steve?
You can follow me on Instagram at bosschow.c21 or at the company Instagram account at C21Atria.
And I imagine they can find all the information about anything you guys are up to, joining the brokerage or learning about what you guys are doing, some of the initiatives you have, projects.
If you want to know more about the company, if you're interested in joining, just go to c21careers.ca. That's our website as well.
I love it. Last question.
Yeah.
What made you smile today?
Talking to you. It's always been fun talking to you, right? You have so much energy.
Steven, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you, David. Take care, everybody.
You're either listening to this on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or Spotify. Or maybe you downloaded our free Industry Syndicate podcast app. Or maybe you went to my website, MindShare101.com. And while you're on my site, make sure to download your free copy of the 7 Ways to Communicate ebook to help you build more mindshare so that you can get more market share. And I want to invite you all to join us for the upcoming MindShare Mastermind event starting on September 8th. This is an 8-hour course delivered twice a week, 1 hour each session over the course of 4 weeks. We are live every Tuesday and Thursday together. Topics include goal setting, systems and time management, marketing plans and budgeting, referral strategies, social media, video, online lead gen, and prospecting. This course is fully loaded without the heavy price tag. And by downloading the 7 Ways to Communicate, you will be sent a special promo code for some big savings, so make sure you do that. All the info can be found online at www.themsc101.com. And for any questions, just get in touch with our team. And by taking this challenge, you will also have access to our private MindShare Masters community. We meet twice a month live to share ideas, tips, tricks, and do some mind sharing. And all of our MindShare Masters get access to our private VIP Q&A with our special podcast guests each week. And you get daily marketing and sales tips delivered right to you. Plus the opportunity to motivate, learn, and network with a whole bunch of people just like you, going through the same struggles in business as you, looking to achieve like you. Again, the link is www.themsc101.com. Registration is now open, but only for a limited time. Wherever you like to consume your content, please rate, review, and subscribe. And if you haven't yet, connect with me on Facebook at MindShare101 and on Instagram at DavidGreenspan101. This has been another episode of the MindShare Podcast. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.